Appreciate it. Okay, sorry y'all. I apologize. I'm gonna start it from the top, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because this kind of started off with technical difficulties anyway. So here's what I was saying, everybody. I was I was starting the show with this new segment thing called uh, question of the day, word of the day. So question of the day: what would you do? Like, what is one thing that if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self that you would do differently with your personal finances? I want to know what you would do differently because this whole video is about what I would do differently if I could go back in time and talk to my 21-year-old self. I did have a few announcements, and the first one is the disclaimer. This show is for educational purposes only. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I know this video says advice for younger people. That's just the title. That's to get y'all to click on this video and hear what I'm saying and what I would say to myself. But this is going to definitely benefit a lot of people, whether you're younger or older. This is what I would say to my 21-year-old self. Invest early. That's what you wish you would do. Okay, now we're getting some. Okay, I was wondering why nobody was saying nothing in the chat the whole time. It's because I was muted the whole time. That's crazy. I've been following you for a minute, bro. So happy to see you're still pushing along the wealth journey. Excited to see what comes with it. Thank you. Thank you, Riley. I appreciate it. Steven said not buying fixer upper house. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that 100%. Y'all give me a second. I got to fix this lighting. Uh, Elgato light. Hold on. I don't mean to do that. Y'all can see me better now probably because it was just getting dark for some reason. But yeah, so I was just going I was talking about the disclaimer. So I was just saying this for educational purposes only. I'm not a licensed advisor. Nothing I share should be considered financial advice. Always do your own due diligence, and I mean that 100%. Do your own due diligence, everybody. I appreciate y'all for being patient and sticking with me this entire time. This whole thing was muted, and I am so apologetic about that because I thought the whole time I thought everything was all good. But I'm glad for those of you who did stick around to hear what I had to say today. That's completely my fault. If you will, if you're just joining me, go ahead, drop your name, age, and location. I want to know where you're streaming from and what your question is for today and what you wish that you would do differently from a financial perspective when you were younger. There's so much that I'm going to share with you today. I have 18 talking points, 18 lessons that I have to share with you today, and I'm going to go in depth. And this is probably going to be a long stream, especially now that I've been going for almost an hour muted. So it's all good. I still have energy. We can go for 3 hours if y'all want to. So I did drop the Zoom link at the top if y'all want to talk about this with me. Um, I'm gonna you'll have to scroll up quite a bit to see it. It's like the third comment of the video, but everything is all good now that we have the audio situation fixed. So that was the announcement. Also, if we can keep the likes up on this video, I want to have as many likes as there are people watching the video, just to make sure that the algorithm shares this video and this stream with as many people as possible. I'm definitely going to have to go back on the back end and edit out all the part where I was muted. But thank y'all for letting me know that I'm muted in the chat. I really, really, really appreciate that. So without further ado, we'll jump straight into the word of the evening. The word of the evening is provident. It means to prepare wisely for the future. And that's what we have to do with our money. And that's what some of the stuff I'm going to say today are going to be much more wise things for me to have done with my money than I actually did. That's an adjective if you were curious, what it was. But today's topic is if I could go back in the past, what I would say. Where I stand right now, I'm 30 years old and my net worth is $173,255.13. And just 6 months ago, it was $151,654.59. So it's gone up $21,600. That's with the market acting up, going up and down. That's with me still contributing every single month, little by little. And that's even with liquidating some of it into cash to go towards YouTube investments and investments in my overall business. I am working on an app and all these other fun things in the background, so that's going to definitely take some money. But I just wanted to share that with you because it's amazing to see that if you divide that by six, because it's been 6 months since I last checked last shared my net worth. I mean, that's roughly $3,600 per month that I'm just getting. Excuse me. Some of that, of course, represents how much I'm putting into these investments, but a good chunk of it is also how much it's growing. So that is what I want to share. And if I could go back in time and share information with my younger self, I could have easily 10x what that net worth is. So check this out. I'm going to jump straight into what I would tell my 21-year-old self. You're in for a treat. If you're interested, take notes. If you're interested, get on the call line. I'm going to actually get on Zoom right now and start the meeting. Whenever y'all join, I might put you on hold for a little bit just because I might be on a talking point, but feel free to join me and enjoy this conversation uh, so we can get a little more in depth with it. But the reason I added the word of the day is because I'm expanding my vocabulary, and plus I want to help expand your vocabulary. There's a lot of weird words in the world of personal finance that people just don't understand. So little by little, I'm going to teach y'all what these words mean in a very plain English, simplistic way, because I think a lot of things in personal finance are extremely overcomplicated. And if I knew what a lot of these words meant when I was younger as well, this would have helped me on my wealth journey because I would have actually understood what it meant. So welcome to Wealth Journal, everybody. You are in for a treat. So first talking point that I would tell myself, you've been lied to about what personal finance success looks like. You've been lied to about it because for me, I wasn't a kid, but like in terms of personal finance, I was looking like, wow, these people are making all this money. They got this good job. They got these nice cars. They're driving a Mercedes. They're driving BMWs. You know, they're driving cars, Porsches. They're driving cars that I could only dream of having. But I was putting them on a pedestal, and I was putting their items that they had on a pedestal. I didn't realize that I was distracted by what I thought success looked like. I didn't know what net worth and dividends and compound interest, things like that. I didn't know what those things were right off rip. I learned it later when I became like almost 22, but I didn't know what these things meant when I turned 21 and when I started working at 21. I didn't know what all of those things necessarily meant. So if I would have known then what I know now, guess what? That $3,600 per month might be seven something thousand or eight, nine, 10. I mean, it could be substantially more just because I'm wiser, but that's why I want to share this information with you, especially if you're younger, because you can take true advantage of this. You can really get somewhere with this information. So I just want to share with you, that's the premise of this whole thing. Because I saw financial success in a different light, I made decisions that reflected that. And not until I changed my mindset, finances and my future started to change. If that resonated with you, go ahead and give me a thumbs up in the comments because that was a crazy epiphany for me. And, I just wish that I would have learned things like that a little faster. Number two, get a 1-bedroom apartment for your first place and spend the money that you would have otherwise saved on investing and putting away into your savings. Here's what I did. I moved out and I wanted to prove to everybody that I could afford. And here's the thing, it's not about what you can afford, but I wanted to prove to everybody that, hey, you can afford a townhome. So you're going to get a townhome. I got a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom townhome, and it was like a flex. Yeah, I have 2 bedrooms and I have all these bathrooms, and like it was a flex. It was just me. I didn't need it. Sacrificing what you need for what you don't need is crazy. Absolutely asinine. Stupid that I even did it. But it didn't hurt me and I could afford it. So really nobody could tell me nothing. But current me, would go back in time and tell past me, look, I'm going to tell you something. You need to get it together, get a 1-bedroom, and put this 170 into some of these investments that we're going to talk about later on in this conversation. So that's something I definitely wish that I did back in the day. 100%. If I would have did that, whew, things would look a lot different for me. Let me just put it that way. But anyway, check this out. Number 3, pay yourself first, but do it automatically. So that's a two-parter. Pay yourself first, but do it automatically. The reason I say that is because what I was doing was I was saving money backwards. I'm lagging. Let me see if I can do something about such information. Oh, it's back. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, live streaming has its complications, but I do prefer doing it to making videos. So we're good. Thank you, Riley. I appreciate you letting me know. And yeah, guilty of number 3. It's hard, man. It's because the thing is, number 3 is just, I wish I would have did that. I wish I would have paid myself first and do it automatically because I was saving backwards. What I was doing was I was like, okay, I have the reason why I was saving backwards. Let me first cover that. The reason why I was saving backwards was simply because of the fact that I was nervous. I had my bills automated already, so because I didn't want to forget about bills. See, I was making my bills automated, but I wasn't making payments to myself, aka savings, automatic. So I was doing it backwards. I was like, well, I don't want to just spend all the money on my bills and not have anything left over. What if I pay myself first and all my bills get cleared, my account might be in the negative. I didn't have a concept for what cadence my bills were coming out. I didn't have a concept for how much money I was truly making and how much I could truly afford to give to myself. So I had no idea from the beginning. So the reason I'm passionate about this is because this could have saved me a lot of money. Because what I was doing was after spending all my money on bills, right? I would spend money on things that I liked having, video games, Netflix, things like that. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was enough to where I was spending money on things that I didn't need. And there was nothing wrong with that. I could have still spent the money on that, but what I didn't do was pay myself first. So what I was doing was I was saving the money that I had left over after spending money for the month. And that's saving backwards. What I should have done was save the amount of money first and did it automatically, because even once I learned this lesson, what I did was instead of saving automatically, I would do it manually. And guess what? This thing about humans is we forget. And I have a great memory, but when life is going on around you and you have stuff going on and there's emotions involved, and like sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days, sometimes, you ate something that your stomach didn't agree with. Like there's going to be things that throw you off your rocker to the point where you're like not thinking clearly about everything. You're not planning through everything properly. And because you're not planning, you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. And you might forget to save this month and next month. Man, I forgot to save my money, but the money's still gone. So what did you spend it on? So I would have saved myself a lot of heartache, financial heartache, just by following what I just said. Pay yourself first, but do it automatically. And that's what inspired me to make my video. And I'll probably link it here in the description after I'm done recording this stream. But I would have done that. I would have saved as much as I possibly could, and I would have automated it. And all you have to do is go to your bank, hit transfers, and make them automatic transfers to yourself, to your savings account, and then boom, guess what? And it doesn't have to be within the same bank account. It could be to any bank account. It could be to a high yield savings account, but I wish I would have done that sooner. But, I was spending hours and hours looking at YouTube videos of how to save. But nothing told me the things that I'm telling y'all here today. Savings is a bill prioritized next to rent/mortgage. That's absolutely right, Netizen. I think that's how I say your name. If I'm not saying your name right, just let me know. But you've been following me for a while, and I definitely appreciate your participation and getting on here on the chat and speaking with me today. But anyway, number 4. But check this out. Don't spend all your time saving money. Set a goal and then go from there. Because I did get into a point where I was paranoid, loss of income, injury, anything can happen, right? So I'm thinking, man, I need to be saving. And then at some point, it's like, what are you saving for? Even if you save $50,000, what are you saving for? Is that gonna, if you do have a loss of income, how long is 50,000 gonna last you? So when I started, and I didn't think of that on my own, somebody actually told me when I was talking about being frugal and saving money all the time, and this was even before YouTube. What is that gonna do for you? You don't get wealthy by saving, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with saving, but you need to have a clear goal of what you're saving for and how much of that is going to be saved. And that's stuff like your regular savings account, and that's stuff like your emergency fund. But once it's in there, you need to start looking at, okay, I need to make this money grow. I'm going to start investing X amount per month. And that's the stuff that we don't think about. That's the stuff that 21-year-old me looking at the cars and looking at, rappers and actors and looking at people who even worked with me that were just at higher levels than I was in management. I'm like, wow, they really got it like that. Like I was really feeling like they were making more than what they actually were. They were portraying something more than what was. And now there's a bunch of podcasts and shows coming out with, you know, actors and just famous people in general, artists, athletes, talking about they didn't have a 401k, they didn't have a retirement plan, they didn't spend their money wisely, their contract ended. Now they got to go back and work. And that's got to be heartbreaking, but there's so much of that coming out now where people didn't properly use all of that money. So you can mess up any amount of money. But that's why you have to have a plan. That's why you need to save and go from there. Excuse me. If that resonated with you, give me a thumbs up in the comments. Also, feel free to join the call line if you want to discuss this further. We have 18 points total. Right now we're on point number 5. This is the fifth thing I would have told myself. Take your 401k more seriously. Don't believe in the hype of what if the stock market crashes. Because here's the thing. People who say stuff like that don't know what the heck they're talking about. And this is actually the point I was on when I realized that this whole video was muted. So thank y'all for the chat letting me know that I'm still muted. But I just wanted to say this. Usually if you have a company and a 401k, that company is going to match you at a certain percentage, and they'll say, "Hey, we'll match you we'll match you up to a percentage. So we'll match you up to 4%. So if you're contributing 4%, and let's say 4% of your salary or your paycheck is $300, they're going to match you 150. Let's say 300 was that 4%. So that 150, they're going to match you half up to 4%. That's what my company was doing at the time. I was only contributing like 1%, 2%, so I wasn't taking it seriously. And last year at some point, I actually ended up taking that money and transferring it over because it's a Roth 401k. So I transferred it over to my Roth IRA, free and clear, no taxes, no nothing. But I could have had more to transfer over if I would have done more of a percentage. And percentages add up like crazy, which you'll see later on in this video, just simply because I was working a lot of overtime, so even another 1 or 2%, that could have changed the trajectory of the investment by thousands. You don't think about it like that when you're younger and you're working and you think, oh, I have all this time, I'm going to retire later, so I don't need to invest in my 401k or take it seriously. Yeah, they were still matching me, but I wasn't getting the most out of it, and I wish I could go back in time and change that. Number 5, whoops, that was number 5. Number 6, read Money Master the Game immediately. Immediately. Best investing book that I've ever read. There's so many people that Tony Robbins interviews in that book that are billionaires with a B. And they all have different strategies, and it just goes to show that there's not one way to do this thing. You can do this in several different ways. Some people were heavily invested into gold. Some people were heavily invested into index funds. Some people were heavily invested into stocks, like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was one of the people that was interviewed in that book. And then I would tell myself to read it once every 6 months, because every time I've read it, and I've read it like 3 times now, which goes to show I haven't followed that advice yet. But you know, if I would have just read it more, because I learned something new every single time I read it, I could have applied that stuff to my life. And I was chasing certain things at that time, certain dreams. I was wanting to go into business for myself and build my own income and ditch my job for good. But if I had just focused on investing, the irony in that is it could have helped my dream be realized much faster, because the investing skills, and I think I'm just naturally good at investing, but the investing skills that I gained from just practice and trial and error and reading and watching a copious amounts of videos on YouTube, things would be a lot different for me. So I wish I would have told myself, read Money Master the Game, and do so immediately. Immediately, like right now. Stop everything you're doing right now and read Money Master the Game. That's what I would tell myself, because that was actually on my reading list. I was heavy into reading books at the time, and I would basically read a couple of books a month. And that was on my list, but I kept pushing it further and further down because I just wasn't interested. I didn't mean to knock my mic over, but I just wasn't interested. Ironically, I wasn't interested in reading a book that was as long as Money Master the Game. It's a super long book. So if you're not a physical reader, get the audio book and put it at 1.5 times the speed, and that'll help you get through it a little quickly. It's not the most fun thing in the world to read, but it is exciting once you realize the results you can have in your life from it. With that, I want to take a drink of water because I've been talking for a while. Let me know in the chat room what your thoughts are so far, and we'll keep going after this sip. Man, that is some good water. Okay. Number 7, figure out how much of your net worth you want to have in cash. That's how you'll know how to rebalance your portfolio and when to rebalance your portfolio. So this, part of my plan with this live is to make myself part of your nightly routine on a Wednesday evening and every other Saturday, because I do have a stream coming on this current Saturday, or this coming up Saturday. And that's what I want. That's what I want. But the reason I say that is because, and it's also going to give you a taste of what people in the Wealth Journey Collective get. I have a group outside of here, Wealth Journey Collective, and I'm not being salesy or pushy or anything. I'm just saying, like, I have a group called Wealth Journey Collective, and I talk about everything that you should do, but in there we really talk heavily about the application and what the results are, and we have screenshots, and we celebrate each other's wins, and we talk about everything, and collectively as a group we help each other build wealth. That's what we do. That's what the Wealth Journey Collective is. I help y'all build your first 100,000 plus in net worth. So if you're interested in that, that is in the description. But I say that to say, we talk about rebalancing portfolios, and it's hard to know how to rebalance a portfolio if you don't even know how much money you want to have in cash. Are you cash heavy? Are you cash poor? Or are you perfectly planned within cash? So that's just something I would have told myself, because there's been several times where I'm seeing my investments go up. Like, I'm talking 500% now. Like Nvidia from 2022 to 2023, it went up a stupid amount. I mean, I saw crazy returns from Nvidia, and I didn't know when it was a good time for me to sell some of them. I don't ever want to sell all of my position now. Nvidia is an incredibly valuable position to have, especially when you have 140 something shares of it. But I was like, man, when do I? So if you want 20% of it or 10% of it to be in your cash, you're like, okay, well right now my investments are outweighing my cash by this percentage. So the difference is what you cash out and put back into your cash. That's how you constantly have that rebalancing. So that's something I wish I would have known. I learned that one fairly recently, like maybe a year ago. But It's just stuff that when you're moving 100 miles an hour, you don't think about all the time. What are y'all thinking so far about this? Is this adding value to you? If it's adding value to you, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. And I don't even just mean like the video. I mean like literally give me an emoji thumbs up in the chat room if you would, please. If you're willing and able this fine evening. So, we're going to move on to the next topic now. Number 8. Man, I wish I would have did this. I keep saying I wish, but constantly reinforce what you've been learning. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. Instead of listening to music on the car ride home, listen to podcasts. So this is a two-parter. Listen to podcasts or audiobooks. I wasted a lot of time in my well, not even teens, but just my 20s in general. I wasted a lot of time in my 20s listening to music just in the car. And while I love music and music is enjoyable, that was time to the car is like a mobile lab. Like you're in the lab, and when you're in the car heading to these commutes every day, you should feed your brain things, listening to podcasts, hearing smart people talk, hearing different ideas, being different, doing different things. You don't even have to apply everything from the podcast or from the book, but just feeding your brain with a different way of thinking is so much better for your brain than listening to music. It just is. I'm not saying you should never listen to music, but when you're driving and you're going 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, and you're listening to something, you are actively learning on the car ride. But I want to touch back on the first part of this two-parter, which was I done lost my spot. Constantly reinforce what you've been learning. It's because you're not really smart until you apply what you've learned. You're intelligent when you know things, but when you actually apply the things that you know and you start learning on that level, from an application level, that's when you truly become a smart person. So I want you all to be financially smart, and I want my previous self back at 21 years old to be more financially smart. Because if I was, there's so many things that would have been done differently, and maybe we'll talk about a breakdown of what I would have done differently as far as investments. But I will answer this comment real quick, or listen to a personal finance show like Dave Ramsey. Exactly. Listen to somebody who knows. And even if you don't have to agree with everything they say. You just have to understand what they're talking about and where they're coming from and what you're going to apply to your life and what you're not going to apply to your life. Because not all financial advice and not all financial information is going to be applicable to your life. You're a different age. You're in a different state in life. You have a different career, different everything. So everything isn't going to apply. If you're just starting, you're in college, you're probably not going to be able to invest $1,000 a month into an ETF. You know what I mean? But someone who's out of college making 70 grand or more a year probably can afford to do such a thing. It just depends on how their debt is and how their bills are set up, you know? So it's widely different. So that's what I would have told myself there. Moving on to number 9. I would have told myself, man, start contributing to a Roth IRA. You've heard about these things. You ain't even did any research on them. You don't even know what they are. You've heard about them, but what are you doing to actually open one up? So I would tell myself, start contributing to it. You don't got to max it out right away, but when you can, max that bad boy out, because you are going to see severe tax advantages by the time you hit 59 and a half years old. Excuse me. Because the money going into something like a 401k, that's pre-tax. Once you take that money out, it's going to get taxed. And by the time I hit 59 and a half years old, or whatever the retirement age will end up being, but they say 59 and a half is when you can start interacting with that account. But anyway, I don't know what taxes are going to look like then. So it's best to have a Roth IRA as well, that, the money going in, yeah, that's taxed, but the money going out ain't taxed. And, the yearly contribution is always going to be different. At one point it was 6,000. Right now it's 7,000. It's going to change from year to year every now and then, but it is the same as it was last year right now though. But just in the future, that number is going to change. And you know why it's going to change? Because of things like inflation, because of things like, the value of a dollar is dropping at a pretty drastic rate. That's why these things are happening. So That's what I would have told myself, and I would have just kept it like that. 21-year old me was smart enough to know what accounts to open. I knew exactly what types of accounts to open, which brokerages and everything else. So I would have just left it like that. Um, and I would tell myself, you will lose way more money not investing than making an investment mistake. And I've made some investment mistakes at, 26, 27 years old, and even at 29 years old. But I own those, and I never took a big loss because I understood the primary outline of investing. And of course, the rule is don't lose money. Every now and then, you might have to cut a loss, though. And if you cut a loss, just don't make it a huge loss, right? So don't invest in things you don't understand. But the thing is, it's like this. It's like this. I might have lost a couple thousand, maybe we'll say 5,000 to be generous. I don't even think I lost that much. But I've gained hundreds of thousands per my net worth that I just shared with y'all at the beginning of the video. If you're just now joining in with me, it's in the 170s. And that's after subtracting my debt. So if you don't include the debt, just looking at my assets in general, we're looking at 194,000. And this is at 30. So it's not a flex, it's not bragging. There's plenty of people doing better. But this is just saying this is a notable thing to accomplish by such an age. And I'm only saying if my 21-year-old self knew the things that I know now, we might be looking at a million and something. But why did you take the loss? I took the loss. That's a great question. So I took the loss because I'll just give you a quick example. So AMD, I had a solid investment in AMD and Nvidia, but Nvidia was doing a lot better. AMD started to drop, and I took a minor loss. I might have lost like $500 from AMD, but what I did was I liquidated that, and it was like 2,000 or something like that, and I just put it into Nvidia. So yeah, I took a loss, but I put it into a better bulletproof company. And AMD is great. I'm not saying don't invest in AMD or anything like that, but I am saying I noticed out of both chip companies, Nvidia is superior. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me to stay in AMD. And I knew AMD was going to come back up, and it sure did. It came right back up. It went from like 110 to, God, what is it now? I'm actually going to give you the actual price that it is right now. AMD. Don't worry, y'all. I'm well versed in the stock app. So AMD is 159 right now. It went from 110 to 159. So I could have held on and made a profit. But the thing is, the amount that Nvidia has grown since then, it gave me a lot more than I would have gotten just by holding AMD. So that's an example, netizen, of me taking a loss. But it wasn't like severe losses though. It was like, all my other investments are up. This one's down. I'm going to liquidate this and put it into a better one. And that's not the only example I have, but that is the example I wanted to give you just because it's the most applicable one. It wasn't like, I was in a pinch for money and I liquidated it at a loss. I will never do that because that's everything. That goes against everything I believe in when it comes to personal finances. And this is what I preach all the time not to do. Where was I at? I was talking about, oh yeah, you lose way more money. So check this out. So we're talking about maybe losing $5,000. Okay, now how does this sound? I know somebody who lost 300 something thousand. It wasn't by no investing mistake though. It was by not investing. Yep, close family member, worked the AutoZone. You know what I'm saying? They had AutoZone stock. And God, I need to pull up AutoZone too. I'm gonna just keep the stock market pulled up as I continue to speak on this. But I had a, I'm interested in stocks and companies in general, so I looked them up. Right now, AutoZone is $4,252.90. He had, God, this was in like 2000 and something when it was, had to have been like 2001, something like that, something crazy. back when it was $60 or so. I forget how many shares, but I have it in my notes somewhere. But what you need to know is this: he missed out on 300,000 something dollars because once he left AutoZone, he cashed out. And I'm not shaming him for it. He did it for notable reasons. He needed to provide for his family, notable reasons and very noteworthy reasons. But what I'm saying is, if he could have magically found another way somehow and held on to those AutoZone stocks, he would be up. He would have an extra, well, $300,000. But I mean, that was then when it was like, when I did the calculation, AutoZone was in the 3,000s. Now it's in the 4,000s. So now we're talking about different money that he's missing out on. Do y'all see what I'm saying? You will lose so much more money. And I have another example. Another close family member. In this one, I specifically made an investing portfolio specifically for him. And I'm not putting nobody's business out there, so don't take it like that. I'm just giving y'all a real life example of what it looks like to lose actual money. Had 6 figures worth that could have gone into investments. I have a hard time with this one, but inside of, I told him at the beginning of 2023, because that was when the market had crashed, or it was like a minor crash, but it crashed enough to where everything was on a discount. Amazon was like $90, and Amazon was a star player of that portfolio that I built. And Amazon, let's talk about AMA real quick. Amazon is now $230.33. I calculated this mess. I knew what was going to happen just based off of research and just based off of knowing the stock market and knowing the companies that I'm invested in. That was just a part of it. Long story short, your boy's missing out on like $150,000 in increase. So he was going to invest 6 figures. It was like, God, it was like 100 and something grand that he was going to invest. He was going to basically double his investment. Missed out on an additional 100 grand inside of a couple of years. And now that the stock market is on an absolute tear, it would have been even more. So just know, I would tell my younger self, look, man, just know that, you're going to learn an awful lot about investing as you get older, and you will have mistakes. There will be trial and there will be error. I could tell you everything right now, but it takes time to retain things. It takes practice to retain things. And you get to the point where you're so good that you can build portfolios for people that are successful. Wildly successful. But not everybody's going to listen. The people who did listen to me, my mom, my aunt, they listened, they're up. They more than doubled their accounts. And I don't give no complicated advice. It's pretty simple, but you have to stick to it. And it takes a certain type of person and maybe even personality to invest successfully. That is a theory being thrown around now, and it might just be true. That's why people invest for them in things, and I don't agree with it just because of the fees associated with it. But all I'm saying is, not investing is a huge mistake. When I was 21, I was terrified of investing because I bought into the hype that I was talking about earlier. What if the stock market crashes? Well, what if it does? Is it going to be the end of the world? No, probably not. It's probably not going to be the end of the world, because if you do what you're supposed to do and save the appropriate amount of money to begin with, to where you're not having to liquidate any investments for cash, so you're good when it comes to cash, you're supposed to be investing money that you don't need anyway. What happened to that? You know what I mean? So all in all, invest your money. Don't be afraid. If I was you right now, I know exactly what to invest in. I'll even tell you what to invest in. This is me talking to myself, not me talking to y'all, but y'all were just eavesdropping on the conversation. I'd be like, look, that Bitcoin that you keep looking at, put some money into it. Stop being scared. VOO, that ETF you've been looking at, put some money into it. VTI, put some money into it. You've been staring at Apple for months. Why didn't you put any money into it yet? You already know what's hot. You know Google's hot. You know Apple's hot. You know Microsoft is hot. I didn't know nothing about NVIDIA back then, though. But Google, Apple, Microsoft, I use those every single day. Have been for over a decade. How could you not invest in those things that you know what is good? course, you need to do your research to understand what you're putting your money into, because Apple isn't just all iPhones. They have a bigger business model behind that. Microsoft isn't just Microsoft Word. They have a bigger business model behind that you don't even know about right now. Google is bigger than Google Chrome. Google is bigger than YouTube. It's it owns YouTube. It has created Google Chrome, but that's not the only thing that Google has going for itself. They're creating some big things, and those are my investments today. Google, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple. You get what I'm saying? I've been into VOO for years now, but I just wish I would have gotten in earlier and held on to things. I was doing Acorns and robo advisors and things like that, and there's nothing wrong with those, but I didn't even hold on to those. I went ahead, once I saw that I was up 20-30%, I cashed out and put it in my savings. So y'all see what I'm saying? You can lose quite a bit by not investing. But I'm not going to harp on that too much longer. I just wanted to really make it real life to y'all what that actually looks like. It's crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Anyway, back to number 11. I think we're on number 11 now. Do y'all have any questions so far? I'm kind of just going bam, 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 but I'm going to slow it down for a second. Do y'all have any questions for me? Do y'all have any insight? Is there anything that resonates with y'all that I said in particular? And does anybody want to get on Zoom to have a conversation? If not, it's cool. But I do find these streams even more entertaining when somebody's up here actually having a full-on discussion with me or even asking questions. I'm not an expert or anything, but I can probably get you squared away. Let me know in the chat room. And if you're just joining me, do me a favor, give this video a like. I put a lot into these videos, a lot of thought into these videos, and I just want to share it with as many people as possible. So like the video, share the video with somebody you care about, and participate in the chat room if you will. If you're just joining, drop your name, age, and location, please. I want to know where you're streaming from. If you want to join the Zoom link, let me know. I'll drop it again. It's kind of far up the chat at this point. All right. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to jump into point number 11. This is what I would tell my younger self, y'all, my young 21-year-old self. When you look back on every year as you get older, you'll see that you actually had everything you'd ever need to make some serious money. You're just distracted by a lot of things. I was distracted by what show was out on Netflix. I was distracted by going to a homecoming football game in college that me and a bunch of friends went to. I was distracted by analysis paralysis, not knowing if I should invest, if I should save. I was distracted by having a job that I hated. I had a lot of distractions in life, and I'm human for having those distractions, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, when I get distracted, I really get distracted. Like, I can be really focused or I can be really distracted. And every single year, I look back on every single year. 2017, I missed out on Bitcoin pretty much every single year, especially 2019. But 2017, could have bought Bitcoin, could have bought Ethereum. I could have invested in so many things, but people were telling me, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And I listened. And it's not their fault. It's my fault for not listening to my own intuition. Things that I was looking at every single day. I was looking at Bitcoin every single day. How much was Bitcoin worth in 2017? Let's see. And I'm not telling y'all to be pro crypto or nothing like that. I really don't see it for most crypto, to be honest with y'all. I really just see it for Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I'm not even in Ethereum right now. I used to own Ethereum, but I sold it. That's what I did. I sold it because it's not very stable at the moment. It's up, but it's stable. How much was Bitcoin worth in 2017? In 2019. I have my phone right here if y'all wondering what I'm typing on. So 2019 it was $4,105. Yikes. Could have easily. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. 2017. I didn't forget about 2017. I just wanted to see what 19 was. Yeah, $2,000. At least in 2017, I wasn't very much informed. In 2019, I pretty much knew what Bitcoin was about, and I still didn't do it. That's why I say especially 2019. Nedison said, now that you can invest in crypto with your 401k, would you? Would you convert existing assets? Um, no, because it's not the same. You're talking about investing into crypto ETFs, and they're not the same thing as actual crypto. I would rather own actual crypto, and that's because like a Bitcoin ETF might have some companies in it. It might have some Bitcoin tracking things in it, and it might even have other crypto classes in it. But you get what you get is exposure to that growth. I want to actually own it, and when I say own crypto, I mean like you bought Bitcoin on Coinbase or Kraken or something like that, and then you move it from there onto a cold wallet, which is a hardware wallet, and then it's truly yours because you own the keys. If it stays on Coinbase, Coinbase owns the keys. So if somebody hacks their system, if their system is down, if they freeze your accounts, you have no access to your crypto. So how is it truly yours? But if it's on a hardware wallet, you have all kinds of access. You get what I'm saying? So no, I would not. I would not do that because and this is only because I know very well how to invest for myself. I know how to invest in crypto on its own, and I already know what companies to invest in and things like that. So the 401k, I just kind of I've been contributing to that, just letting that grow how it grows, but then focusing my energy on investing my own money where I think it is best fit. So I wouldn't even mess with my 401k, especially my 401k is like 117,000 right now. So I'm gonna just let that keep growing. Does that make sense, Medicine? Um, all right. So yeah, every year I look back, I missed out on a supreme opportunity. 2020, Bitcoin again, but also Nvidia, also AMD. Excuse me. Um, I could have been invested heavily into Apple. Like, I didn't invest into stocks for the first time until 2020. And my first investment was Visa. And that was a good investment, but I waited till the market recovered a little bit before getting into it. You get what I'm saying? So I should have followed the advice that I already knew, which is you know, be aggressive once the market crashes and actually buy up the best companies in the world. But there was so much fear, the world was shutting down, couldn't go to the gym, couldn't go to the grocery store without fighting somebody over some toilet paper. So there was a lot of distractions back then. So I'm not faulting myself for being distracted by normal things. What I am saying is if I would have paid a little more attention back then, I could have built up a crazy, an absolute, whoops, hold on a minute. Stopped. I did not, I almost ended the stream, y'all, my bad. Yeah, that virus was awful. It disrupted so many businesses. It got Zoom on the map. It did so many things. It made working from home more normalized and a more preferred way of life. It changed the dynamics of the world. People are more socially awkward now. People don't know how to connect as well. That 1 year completely disrupted the world forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's changed everything forever. It's changed how everybody's gonna do things. It's changed how people even think about certain things. And I guess in some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad. People had a lot of time to reflect in COVID and things like that. Nedison said, sorry to referring to Trump's executive order for alternative asset and 401k, actual crypto held in a plan, though a custodian, not just ETFs, but yes, I hear you. Um, oh, okay, I see. Yeah, well, you're not going to have access to your 401k till you're 59 and a half, and I just prefer to not, not even mess with what the 401ks has going on at the moment. That's just me. And I talked really in depth with my Wealth Journey Collective people about how I feel about 401ks in general. So this advice is to my younger self when I didn't really understand investing at all. When I was actually investing in my 401k, but I wasn't investing for myself yet. So this is for my younger self. For my more advanced people, I have something for 401ks and I have insights on that, which maybe at some point I'll share on YouTube. But for right now, I want y'all to build the right habits early on as you build your skill set. And then we can talk about, well, how I feel about 401ks in general. Um, yeah, but basically, I've always longed for, being financially free, making stupid amounts of passive income, being able to do whatever I want whenever I want. I'm a martial artist. I do Muay Thai right now. I like to work out. I like to run. I like to spend time with my family. I like to spend time with my girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, I like to do a lot of things that sometimes when, you're at work, especially if you're at a job that you hate, because back in 2017, I was at a job that I hated. Uh, I was always like, man, I'm in here dealing with this mess when I could be with the people that I love. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that I have not let go of. It's a mentality that I've not let go of, and it's always been on my mind. But the thing about that is, I've always had the tools that I needed in my bank account to get those exact results. But it wasn't necessarily through the vehicle that I thought it would be through. I thought it was always going to be, you know, building a business and doing things, and I'm still working on that. But on the back end, what I'm saying is, the building a business takes time. So does investing. But guess what? As you're building the business, I could have been investing, and guess what? That investment could have been growing substantially, and I'm still building the business. That's what could have been going on. But that kind of brings me into one of the points that I have later on. It's number 14 actually, so we'll get into that. I'm gonna keep moving on. I don't want to stay on this point for too long. Y'all got stuff to do, I know. So we'll talk about number 12. Learn as much as you can, with the underline under much. Learn as much as you can about Bitcoin and AI. And by AI, I mean artificial intelligence, and invest in both. And I'm going to be very specific here as to not have any confusion whatsoever. What I would say is, one moment. What I would say is, learn about Bitcoin, learn why Bitcoin is the thing, read the Bitcoin white paper, read as much as you possibly can about Bitcoin. The premise of Bitcoin is actually genius, and it actually makes a ton of sense. And it has from the beginning. What didn't make sense was how much it fluctuated at the beginning, but it is the most stable cryptocurrency that there is. And it has true utility, and there's a finite amount, which means they will not be making it forever. And its supply gets cut in half every 4 years, which is why the price happens to spike every 4 years. So that's my hint that I would give my younger self, but I would still encourage him to do his own research. And that's what I would say. In AI, artificial intelligence, my younger self was going to go to grad school, and I was going to enroll in the University of Arkansas. And one of the classes up there was, and it was going to be online classes, but one of the classes was artificial intelligence. It sure was. I was going to get an advanced degree. I can't remember what it was. It might have been industrial technology systems or something like that, but AI was a part of that curriculum. So I knew of artificial intelligence, but I didn't bother looking it up beyond that point, even though I was like, wow, that's interesting. But I didn't end up going to grad school because I was like, well, wait a minute. How much am I going to be making if I get an advanced degree within my current field? About 75. I'm like, 75. So you mean to tell me I'm going to be making basically what I'm making now? This is, again, 21-year-old me making what I'm making now, but going into further debt because of just to say that I got a master's degree? No. So I didn't end up doing it. Um, Riley says I'm back. Welcome back, Riley. Welcome back. This stream is going to go a while, so feel free to rewind. Feel free to just watch me in real time, however you want to do it. But right now, I'm just going over how I feel about Bitcoin and AI, and I'm basically telling my younger self, look, now you read as much and learn as much as you can about Bitcoin and AI. Those two are the future. They're building blocks of the future. And there's going to be a huge divide, a huge wealth transfer just based on those two alone. That's not even including all the other things that are also happening. Those are two advancements that I find very intriguing. And younger me, if you're skeptical about Bitcoin, which you are, read about it, learn about it, and just ask yourself, does this make sense? A lot of cryptos exist that just don't make any sense, don't really have any funding, don't really have any premise behind it. They just exist just because somebody wanted to make them. But Bitcoin, I'm just saying, do your research, folks. Do your research. That's what I would tell my younger self. And even now, y'all watching now, do as much research about Bitcoin and AI as you possibly can. Artificial intelligence and Bitcoin. Just do your research about it and see what you find about it. And once you understand where it's going, it wouldn't be unwise to put money in it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And this is from experience now. This is from current me telling y'all, this is what has happened for me. And if I would have done it sooner, things would look a lot differently. But I don't get stuck in the past, because once you learn those lessons, now I am invested into Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Now I am invested into AI. But had I done it sooner? That's where the life-changing wealth happens. You don't need to just think that everybody who is wealthy got lucky, or, they came from money. I didn't come from money. My parents didn't struggle. Granted, they never struggled when it came to like raising me and my brother and things like that, but I didn't come from money. I didn't have a Roth IRA that was passed down to me. They didn't know what investments were. They didn't know about stocks and ETFs. You get what I'm saying? So I'm teaching them now about these things. My family in general didn't know about these things. They kind of look at the stock market like it's a slot machine, like this is what you gamble with. So I'm just telling y'all, look at those two things. Number 13, don't let other people's opinions derail you for the vision that you have for yourself. There was a popular saying back when I was doing a mentorship program out of college, and I was trying to build a business, and this business went absolutely nowhere, but there was a very good saying. And the saying was, don't let the blind, God, I can't even remember the saying. Okay, I remember now. Don't let the blind proofread your vision. And that's exactly what I was letting them do, because like people who don't even understand the stock market were telling me not to invest in the stock market because it's risky. What's risky is missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars by not investing. Sorry, y'all, I'm talking fast because I'm excited and I'm passionate about this. But, you're worried about losing 5,000. I'm worried about you losing 300,000. Because you can lose 5,000 in your investment and still be up $20,000. If you're down $300,000 because of lack of knowledge, now you have to have a conversation with yourself and look at yourself in the mirror. You can listen to what people say and the skeptics and people. How are you going to be skeptical when you don't even know nothing about the stock market? How? Because when you inform yourself, you're like, oh, wait, this actually makes a lot of sense. I need to do this. You invest in your 401k, but you're telling me you won't invest in your own individual brokerage account and invest in ETFs and stocks there? Make it make sense. And for those who are new, ETFs are exchange traded funds. You probably know what stocks are. And there's a lot of things, but guys and girls, please, just understand where I'm coming from in this. Don't let other people's opinions derail you from where you're at in life. Don't do it. Don't mind me. I'm just doing a quick look on YouTube right now. This thing isn't showing me the accurate amount of viewers. Give me one moment, y'all. One moment. Let me know if y'all have any questions in the comments. We're about to jump into the next topic here in a second. View channel. Okay. All right. We're ready to get back into this now. So, let me know if it's lagging. It's saying my connection is acting up again. So, we're almost done actually with the talking points. But the 14th one, and this is coinciding with number 13, Drop the all or nothing attitude. And I know that's powerful by itself, but I'm going to explain what I mean because everybody has a different type of all or nothing. My all or nothing is, I want to go into business for myself, so I'm only going to focus on going into business for myself, not realizing that it takes 5 to 10 solid years to build a true, real business. And that time clock hasn't started yet until you get clear on your vision, get clear on your mission, get clear on how you're going to make money, get clear on how you're going to build the business in the first place. That time clock doesn't even start yet. I was operating in that business for years, not even realizing the time clock ain't even started yet. That time I could have been investing heavily because the business that I was building didn't require much upfront cost, so I could have been investing heavily. Instead, I listened to people who didn't know what they were talking about, saying, well, once you build your business, then you should worry about investing. Oh, that makes sense. Why did I think that made sense? Because I didn't know any better. So now that I know what I know, I would tell myself, invest heavily while building your business and understand what your vision and mission is. And as you grow in life and have different experiences, then you'll understand better what your business should be. It's incredibly hard to build a business at 21 without any guidance whatsoever, especially when you were misguided for an entire year and a half. About how to build a business in the first place, doing Amway and things like that. So I guess in a sense, I'm talking to 21-year-old me and I'm talking to 22-year-old me. But drop the all or nothing attitude because you can do a few things at once. You can work and you can invest and you can build a business all at the same time. You don't just have to focus on, I want to quit my job, and then you're building a business thinking that business is going to save you from your job. That's not realistic. Not in the first year and a half. Not without any business skills. And at the time, I didn't even have management skills. I mean, how are you going to build a business and scale it and manage a team within your business if you don't have these skills? I wish I had me to talk to when I was younger because I was telling everybody about this, but they didn't know about investing. They didn't know about personal finances. They didn't know about making videos. And I didn't even know I was going to do videos on personal finances because, I didn't know that much about personal finances at the time. I was more on the personal growth kick. Personal growth is a way of life, but as far as content creation, it was a kick because it was short-lived because I knew on YouTube, for one, you have to have more of like a not saturated, but granulated, I guess you could say, niche where you're focused on one type of thing, personal finance, for example. I was all over the place. I was talking about morning routines and, how to manage time better. And the same person doesn't necessarily watch the same video, but the same person who watches how to save money might watch how to get out of debt, and they might watch, what to do with your money when you get paid, and they might watch how to invest. And they might watch what to invest in. You get what I'm saying? So I didn't know these things back then. Drop the all or nothing attitude. If that resonated with you, give me a thumbs up in the comment if you would. Please, if you're willing and able. We got quite a few people watching tonight. So far it's had several views, 116 views, which is a lot for live. Right now there's 5 people watching, concurrently. But anyway. Number 15. You don't need 20 plus stocks to be a successful investor. You need a good 5, couple ETFs, and you're good to go. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate you. Yeah. I wish at first I thought I was stunting on them when I started investing in stocks. I was like, oh, I'm going to get this stock and this stock. I had 20 stocks at one point. But then, I was still doing my research and I was still, learning as much as I could about investing. And I came across this one video and they're like, okay, you have 20 something stocks. Why? It's not going to outpace an ETF. So just get an ETF if you're going to invest in, all these stocks. If you're going to invest in stocks, look at 4, look at 5, look at 6 maximum. I say 5 because I like the number 5. And 6, isn't as concentrated as 5. So you could technically lose more money, or not lose more money, but you won't make as much on sticks necessarily if you have six versus five, especially if they're wisely chosen five and they're compounding on top of each other and making you stupid amounts of money. If your money is spread across 20 different assets, different stocks, and one's up 20%, one's up 100%, one's down 50%, one's down 6%, like, and it keeps going down and down and down, and then some go up. Like, it's hard to control that, you know? But if it's five and they're all up 20%, guess what? You're going to make more money that way. And you're going to keep putting money into them, and it's going to be much easier to control. It's going to be much more growth coming out of those five. So you don't need 20 different stocks. And I'll also throw this in there. I wish I could tell myself these are things that you should buy every month. Buy ETFs every month. Don't buy stocks every month unless their names are Apple or Microsoft. That's what I would tell myself. I had to learn that the hard way. You could even throw Google in there. But at the time, Google was like $1,000-something. They've done a stock split since then. So now to buy a share, it's a couple $100. So, but at one point it was like $90, you know? So all in all, I would just tell myself this is the cadence that you should look at. I would save myself a lot of hours and a lot of research just by saying that one thing, to be perfectly honest with you. Y'all were some troopers, man. I'll tell you that, because I started this video off muted, and a lot of y'all that were on here are still up here from earlier. I appreciate y'all, especially this stream has been going for 2 hours now. Boom, 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 boom. 16. Only buy stocks when they're at their 200-day moving average or below. The rest of the time, buy ETFs. If you don't know what 200-day moving average is, just look it up. It's the average price of how much they were in the last 200 days. And if it's above that, likely it's likely to be overpriced. Likely. I say likely because there's some special cases out there, but if you're only focusing on a few stocks, then that's going to help you out. But people say that, you know, if you invest in stocks, you don't really outperform people buying ETFs. Well, you can if you invest in stocks heavily when they're really down, and if you invest in them regularly when they're at or below their 200-day moving average, you absolutely can outpace an ETF. You can. But if you invest in it like everyone else, when, you know, something hits $1,000 for the first time, it's at an all-time high, and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy that. You're buying it at the peak of its worth. So of course it's going to come down. At some point, you're supposed to buy them when they're down. And when they're up, if you want to, you can sell them, but I say hold on to them. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to buy these things when they're at the highest they'll get, because you're like, oh, it might go to 2,000. It's at 1,000 now. It might go to 2,000. My man, you're supposed to invest in them when they're down. So you're not going to be able to keep track of that unless you're like looking at it all day, every day, and you understand what you're looking at. So look at the 200-day moving average, keep it moving. That's what I would tell myself. We're moving on to the final two, people. We are moving on to the final two. Number 17. There's no secret or moment that everything just changes for you. This thing takes time. Learning personal finances, learning investing, learning how to build a business, learning how to grow in your career and do well in your career and earn six figures for the first time. That takes time. There's no moment. There's no epiphany. There's no, oh, something just clicked. It's years and years of learning something new every single day. Years and years of applying what you've learned. Day in and day out. That's years and years of working overtime, working 7 days, 7 days a week. And I didn't want to do that, and I do not glorify this lifestyle, so don't take it that way. That's what I did. I'm talking to my past self. That's what I did. I was at a job for a couple years, working 7 days a week, 72 plus hours a week. I did it. I put in the time. I made a lot of money doing it, and if I had the knowledge that I had with that money, I could have taken it to different levels. I still did well with the money, don't get me wrong. I saved my first 20 grand that way. I bought my first investments that way. I was able to move across the country that way, out of pocket. And of course, I got a relocation bonus, so I really didn't even spend nothing. But I had it out of pocket. I didn't have to go into debt and wait for the company to pay me back to, just get back to ground zero. That didn't happen with me. So I say all that to say there's no moment, there's no secret, you just have to learn a lot of lessons over and over and over again sometimes if you don't learn it the first time, and apply what you've learned, and try new things, and try things even that people say that you're crazy for doing, because they don't know. They haven't done the research. You've done the research. So do the research and make sure that you learn uh, things that you're interested in, like investing if you're interested in that, if you're interested in building a business, if you're interested in making money in general, just like do your research instead of listening to people saying, "Oh, that's a scam." Look, people say courses is a scam. I never bought any investing courses, granted, but I do have one. But also, it's part of my Wealth Journey Collective group, so I'm not even selling it standalone right now, unless people express to me that they want a standalone course where they can just buy. I'm not selling it. But what I'm saying is, like, YouTube, I didn't know anything about YouTube, so I bought like 6 courses. I've worked with people professionally over it. I've spent thousands of dollars. I've worked with Andre Zick, which is a huge YouTuber in the finance space. I've worked with Camille Colazzo. She wasn't as huge, but she was extremely helpful. And she is the person who is single-handedly responsible for helping me get my channel monetized. I spent money on their courses, on their programs, on their one-on-one coaching. It's not a scam. You're People are just afraid to spend money on things that might help them actually move forward in life. But people think nothing of spending $600 a month on fast food, or going out to eat in general, or things that they don't need, or subscriptions. But when it comes to something that can actually potentially help you reach a goal that you have in life, you say it's a scam. People need to drop that mentality. Luckily, younger me never had that mentality. I was almost too eager to spend money to learn something. But that's what people do. That's what high net worth individuals do. They want to learn something, and they don't want to spend years and years learning it. So they get a curated version of it with everything condensed, everything they need to know, like kind of like this video. And guess what? They get the outcome they want, and they pay well for it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Um, Mini Sims Production says, "Hey man, hope you have a great night. Thank you for all that you do." I hope you have a great night too. I appreciate that, and I just want to do what I'm doing now for the people who are in the same shoes that I was in the same seat that I was in, just wanting to learn more about personal finances, and learn more about what to do with money. Because not everybody wants to build a business. People just want to make passive income. And I'm telling you, investing, if you have the money for it, is an incredible way of doing it. You have to make some money first. There are some prerequisites, don't get me wrong, but a lot of you have which all that you would ever need to reach the amount of wealth that you could never possibly dream of. And younger me didn't know this until I started running. Well, younger me never knew this, but I didn't realize this as myself until I started running calculations, and like, man, if I would have got Bitcoin, even if I would have bought $100 of Bitcoin back in 2017, it's $100,000 now. It was 400,000 then. You know what I mean? And if I would do the $100 a month, I mean, forget about it. Because I couldn't afford to just drop 4,000 on Bitcoin back then. But I just, things like that. Or even just the simple advice that no one ever seems to follow because it's too boring. Investing in VOO or VTI. I've known about those since 2017. Never once did I think, oh, maybe I should just buy this. I didn't start getting into those until like 2018 and later. And even then, I didn't invest in those regularly. So these are just lessons I wish that I knew. Things that could add money to my net worth, and by extension can help add money to your net worth. Um, Number 18. I will let myself know that I will get everything I've ever wanted and more, but no one, and I mean no one, is going to save you. Because every goal that I had back then, I went back into my old, it's a little journal. I didn't write in it every day or everything, but I did put like a list of goals that I have for myself, and then myself 5 years from now, and things like that. Everything that I set out to do, I've accomplished and more. And what I realize now is my goals were way too small. So, and I always had this like thought that, oh, well, maybe, if I do this, if I run into this person, if I get advice from this person, nobody's going to save you though. People can help you along the way, but nobody's going to outright rescue you from your job that you hate and save you. Nobody's going to save you from your bills. Your bills are coming no matter what. Rent is due on the first, homeboy. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay for things. You got to pay for gas. You got to pay for groceries. You even have to pay for the things that you don't need, that you insist on buying. You know, there's nothing wrong with buying things you don't need, but if you don't do it responsibly and you do it in the backwards order where you're paying for all your bills and all your needs, and then you're paying for, nights out and fun and things like that, and then you save money, does that sound responsible to you? Or does it sound responsible to pay yourself first, pay all your bills, and then what's left? You can look at investing, saving, or splurging on some of it. The rule I have now, because I was a little too tight on this even a few months ago, is I'm giving myself 5% every single time I get paid. 5%. And that's whatever money. But that does not happen before I pay myself and put money into my savings or investments. It's all done on an automation, so I don't have to think about it. And for those of y'all who are getting into a Roth IRA or anything of the sort, just don't forget to actually invest the money. I've never made this mistake, but I also did my research before doing it. If you're going to open up a Roth IRA and do all that due diligence, of course you're thinking about what you're going to invest in the Roth IRA, because the Roth IRA is just an account. It's not an investment like itself. It's not the investment. That's an account. But once you put money in it, the money has to go somewhere. It can't just sit in there. You know what I mean? Like, you got to put money into VOO or into VTI or into whatever you put money into. And that's what makes your Roth IRA grow. If you just send money to your Roth IRA every month and you're not actually investing it, your money's just going to sit there and it'll be like a glorified savings account that ain't earning you nothing. So, I had a lot, but I do have honorable mentions though, which I'm going to share with you right now. I'm opening up my Instagram on my iPad real quick. This is what I'm reading my notes off of, and this is where my honorable mentions came from. As a matter of fact, I came across, goodness gracious. I'm going to read it off my phone because this mess is making me sign in. Let's see, Instagram, boom. I send myself a lot of stuff on Instagram. Does anybody else send themselves like videos and posts and things from Instagram that they find helpful? I do that all the time, but where is it? Gosh, it's all the way up here. It was at the beginning of the week. So, these are things that really coincide with the advice that I just so happened to come across after I was getting ready for this video. So, Warren Buffett is 95 years old today. Here are the 10 rules he's lived by throughout his life. If you can't control your emotions, you can't control your money. This isn't for younger me. This is just for everybody right now. I'm talking to y'all now. If you can't control your emotions, you can't control your money. I do it more with Facebook. You do what more with Facebook? The sending the video. Yeah, I mean, I like Facebook works. Just so y'all know, your devices are listening to you. But anyway, the second thing is, an idiot with a plan can beat a genius without one. This is for my people who like to plan and who are real smart people, real intelligent people, but they're trigger shy. In my last call, I talked about how there's 4 types of people. There's talkers, thinkers, watchers, and doers. I'm talking to my thinkers right now. I'm a thinker as well, first and foremost. Second most, I'm a doer. But don't stay stuck in analysis for so long that you think you have to have the perfect plan. Facebook wasn't just built with the perfect plan and then boom, they went and it worked perfectly. I've never once even planned a full day that went completely according to plan. So how can you plan that with a business or with your finances? You can't. So it's good to have a solid plan, but waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the perfect plan, you're not exactly going to get the results that you think you're going to get anyway. And sometimes you have to build the plane while you fly it. Like, for example, I'm working on an app right now. I didn't wait till I had the perfect bulletproof idea. I had a simple idea where I was like, you know what? It would be cool if there was something where there was an app where my money could, my bank transactions could get automatically uploaded to it. Boom. And you can just pull the transaction. So you just click a button and then boom, the month of August is up there. And then, because I don't like reading my own budget stuff, I don't like reading through every single transaction and seeing how much I spent where. That's what I did all last year when I was doing my Wealth Journey series, when I was showing y'all how I was spending and stuff. I didn't like that because it's all manual and it took me so long to do every single month. So I was like, what if there was something that just, you click a month, you connect your bank account, and then boom, it spits out your entire month of transactions to a T without missing anything like a bunch of popular finance apps do nowadays. But then to the right, there's an AI summary telling you this is how much you spent in each category. This is what you can tighten up on. I noticed you did this. Like, it gives you actual insight that you can just read in plain English, super simple, super encouraging English that tells you what you need to be doing. Like, that's what I thought of. But like, that was it. And I was like, it would be cool if it had an AI chatbot. So then I added that. Then it would be cool if it had like a quarterly, monthly, yearly summary. So I added that. Oh, it would be cool if there was a debt page and it told you what date and you know, all that stuff that you'll be debt free. In what order to pay your debts based off of the interest rate. So you could be paid off debt as quickly as possible. So it gives you hope. And so you understand what you're actually doing. You're not just doing this for no reason. You're not just, you know, on a treadmill or on a, what do they call that mess? On a hamster wheel. You're not on a hamster wheel. You're actually doing this for a purpose. And this is going to help you get debt free. And, oh, it would be cool if there was an investing page. Like, I built the plane as I started flying it. That's what I did. So I'm not saying that like as a commercial for my app because it's not even ready for you all yet. But what I am saying is, you don't need to just have the perfect plan every time. Next thing, it's insane to risk what you have for what you don't need. I actually quoted that earlier in the video, but you know, people in cars with car payments who are paying, you know, $700, $800, $900 a month, and they're behind on their bills. They're risking what they need, money, for what they don't need, car. And you can replace that with any other liability you can think of. I'm using car as an example because that's a big hitter nowadays. You can even look at the same thing for rent, like I did back when I was spending a bunch of rent on a townhome when I could have been just getting a one-bedroom apartment. $170 a month can go a long way when the economy is the same way it was back in 2017 and you're a young 21-year-old single man and you ain't really got no other responsibilities, no kids, no nothing. So just saying, Wall Street makes money by catching the public's mistakes, not by sharing wisdom. Just saying, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. So when the market is down, that's when you need to be going in. When it's super up, that's when you need to be like, that's too high. It's going to be coming down. So I'm going to take a seat to that for right now. You get what I'm saying? But that's just how it is. That's how it is. Wealth is the transfer of money from the impatient to the patient. You have to be patient if you're wanting to build wealth. You have to be. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no, well, what if I do it this way? No. Everybody wants money right now, and I've gone to investing events for real estate, for the stock market, business in general. I've been to several of those conferences, and there's always somebody there that's like, I need money now. Okay, well, you're in the wrong field. If you need money now, you do that by getting a job that pays you now. You get paid every 2 weeks. Business, you don't even get paid every month all the time because seasons fluctuate and certain things are in season, certain things are out of season, certain things, you know, people want to buy now, some things people want to buy in a few months from now. Stock market has its ups and its downs. Sometimes it's down for months at a time, even a year at a time or more sometimes. You can't go off of I need it now. You have to be patient. You have to know what the outcome is going to be. And the outcome of the stock market is it's going to be up 2/3 of the time. So now that you know that, when it's down, you don't trip as much. You get what I'm saying? If you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Can I get an amen? I'm going to take some water, a sip of water to that. Can I get an amen? That's so true. If you're in a situation with debt, credit cards, student loans, um, you're not where you want to be in your career, you're not where you want to be financially, you have to stop doing the things that got you there in the first place. So, for example, if we're talking about the credit card, stop using your credit card. I mean, and I'm not talking about the people who need to use a credit card to live. I'm talking about the people who are overspending anyway and overspending on their credit card. And because they're doing such a thing, they're just getting to the habit and they spend more and more and more and more and more. And they keep digging themselves into the hole deeper and deeper and deeper to the point where you're unsavable unless somebody comes and rescues you with 100 grand, and then you're back at ground zero. So stop digging if you're in a hole, and if you're not where you want to be financially, you got to increase your skill set. You have to do different things than you're doing right now to get you to where you want to be. If you have to study something new, if you have to get into a different field, if you have to work at a different company completely, you have to do different things. That's how you stop digging. And I've done it before. I was in a job where I worked 7 days a week and I couldn't stand it. And people used to say, well, where are you going to go making this kind of money, young man? You know, you don't even have skills yet. You ain't nothing. Basically, is what I was getting out of it. You can't go nowhere with your current skill set. You ain't been working long enough. I got draws older than you. That's what they used to tell me. You know, like, you don't have the experience for this. You're not made for this. Where are you going to go doing the same job, making the same kind of money? Where? They didn't think I would move across the country and do it on them and actually more than double my income from where I was making there and working half the time. You never know. You never know. But I stopped digging though. I started branching out and looking at other opportunities. If you buy things you don't need, soon you'll sell things you do need. That kind of goes with what I said earlier, right? About risking what you don't need for what you do need is crazy. Same thing. There's nothing wrong with buying things you don't need from time to time. Doing it every day is crazy. And you'll see from the results that I share when my app is ready for you. And I think maybe next live I'll share with you what my app is looking like so y'all can really see the full picture. But it'll straight up tell you about yourself. And it's AI generated, and you can ask it questions, and it'll tell you how much you invested this month. You know, how you could have spent your money more wisely, where most of your non-necessity money went towards, and like you can really see a pattern. Then it can give you a summary of the past few months of what you've been doing, and if you would have done it differently, what could have happened. Like, this thing is extremely smart. I've built it to be something that I wish I had when I was younger. So this is personal for me. You get what I'm saying? So I'm talking a lot about my app, but I love it, and I put a lot of work into it, so rightfully so, right? You can't buy time. It's the one thing the rich and poor spend equally. That's more of a message for me, to spend time with people you love while you can. They're not going to last, your whole life all the time. And some people may outlive you, but the thing is, like, you got to really think about life is short. You never know when your time might come. I lost my aunt back in 2022, and I spent quite a bit of time with her growing up. Of course, as I got older, got into college, and started working, I spent less and less. But every chance I got to see her and talk to her. And one thing I wish I would have done more is talk on the phone with her more, because she would call a lot. But she would call at not so convenient times. But now, if I ever get a phone call and my phone is on me and I see that they're calling, I don't care if I'm running on the treadmill. I'm answering that phone, because you can't replace time. And this, of course, is exclusive to the people that you care about and things like that. But I just want y'all to think about that. The best investment you can make is in yourself. And that's true because going to college, that was an investment in myself. That's what got me the six-figure salary that I've been wanting. It took, let's see, I graduated at 21. I got six figures at 25. So it took 4 years, maybe less, maybe 3.5 years to get to my six-figure salary that I've been wanting. But that was an investment in myself. Investing in knowledge of YouTube. YouTube pays me every single month. That's valuable. That's a great investment because I'm making an extra X amount every single month. And then investing in knowledge that can help you do things like invest in the stock market or even like Wealth Journey Collective, which has my stock investing course in it. It's included, so it's not an extra charge. Knowing that and putting money into the stock market and letting that build in the background while you're working on your career or you're working, on your business development or you're working with whatever schooling you're doing to get to the next level of business or whatever it is, whatever skill set it is. Investing in your knowledge is extremely important because that's what's going to give you a perpetual ability. Not perpetual, because that's even after you're past. But you get what I'm saying. It gives you a lifelong ability to make money, and that's why a lot of people struggle. If they don't have ability to make money, they don't know how to make money. They don't know how to sell things. They don't know how to do things and exchange a skill set for money. They're going to get left behind, especially in this new AI thing. But that is all I had as far as the things that I wish I knew, and those were the honorable mentions. I want to know if y'all have anything for me in the comments. Do y'all have anything for me in the comments on this fine evening? Do y'all have any questions? Do y'all have anything that you want to talk about on the Zoom call? Because I do still have the call line open if you want to talk about that, if you have any insights, if you have any additional questions. If you got value from this video, I want you to give me a like on this video and a thumbs up in the chat, if you would, please, because this is extremely important. If I could somehow send this video to 21-year-old Reggie and was like, look, watch this right now. I don't care what you're doing, watch this right now. I would. I 100% would. And I want to know what you got out of this video. It says that 138 people have viewed this video. 4 people are concurrently watching. So for those of mine that are watching right now, do y'all have anything for me? Any questions? Anything you'd like to add? And as a matter of fact, here's what I'll do. I'm going to, one last time, if y'all don't want to, it's fine, but I don't want to take anything away from anyone who wanted the opportunity to speak. I'm going to drop the, oh my God, this thing is messing up. I don't want to deprive anyone of the opportunity to speak on Zoom, so I just dropped the Zoom link again if you want to speak on Zoom. In the meantime, I will answer Riley's question. Would you recommend investing even if I already maxed out my Roth IRA? Yes, because your Roth IRA is a part of your investing. So when I shared my net worth earlier of over $170,000 and my assets being $194,000, you have to look at it. Part of that's my 401k, part of that's my Roth IRA, part of that is my individual brokerage account, which is where I invest in stocks, ETFs, and all that fun stuff. And then that's my crypto account. And to add to that, that's also my savings and my high yield savings account. So when you add all that together, they're all parts. They all complement each other. It's not, just this. It's actually this and that. Does that make sense, Riley? Did that answer your question? And feel free to ask more questions if you have more, Riley. Y'all, I have not eaten yet. I should probably eat something. But I'm not rushing to get off. I want to answer y'all's question. I'm going to wait around to see if we have any other questions. Any other questions? This is time to to ask. This is the Q&A part of the video. So if you want to get on the Zoom call, if you want to reach out to me on the chat, this is the Q&A. And this is also if you have anything that you want me to talk about on Saturday. I am doing another live on Saturday, and I'm all here for it. So let me know what you want. Riley said, I'm 21 years of age and I started at 19. So you're killing it. Yes, that makes sense. But if I already maxed out my Roth IRA, what do I do next? Well, that's a fine question, Riley. So what I would say is, what I would do is I would open up, excuse me, hold on, I got a little gasp. Burping, I mean. But what I would do is open up an individual brokerage account. So there's a lot of different ones. I use Webull personally, but I've opened that up years ago. There are better ones out there, so you could open up a Webull account, a Charles Schwab account, a Vanguard account, and all kinds of Robinhood even. So those are examples of accounts that you or brokers you can use, and then you open up an individual brokerage account. That's where you can go ahead and invest in stock and ETF and whatever else. I'd love to hop on the Zoom on Saturday. Okay, cool. It's gonna be at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and the topic is still pending because I have like 5 different topics that I plan to speak on for the next few lives, and I'm having trouble picking which one I want to talk about. But yeah, I'd be happy to hear from you, Riley, on the Zoom call on Saturday. It will be at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But does that make sense? The individual brokerage account stuff? All right. Is there anything else? Does anybody have anything else? Any questions? I also understand that not all of y'all are like watching this. Y'all might be listening to this. Some of y'all might be on the road, or like you might not have like access to a keyboard right now. So I do understand that. When I listen to lives, I'm usually not just watching them. I'm like usually driving and just listening to what they're saying. Riley says sounds good, and that makes sense. So I hope y'all got something out of this, and I hope this was helpful. I hope this was helpful for you if you're watching this and you're younger, or if you're watching this when you're older. Thanks again for letting me know that I was muted for like, God, 40 minutes or so on this live. I was I was acting up, not realizing that I was muted, but I hope this was helpful, and I hope you got something out of this, and I hope you took notes. This will be, of course, on YouTube for you to watch at any given time that you would like to, but I hope this helps make somebody money someday, and I hope that a lot of people end up seeing this video and watching this video, because the topic at hand is so important. It's extremely important to me, and it's stuff that, when you're distracted by concerts and music and, movies and things going on in the world and what your friends doing, it's easy for a lot of these things to just go right over your head without you even realizing it. But right here, right now, I'm telling you what's up and what's going on and how things work financially. And I talk to you a lot about what to do on this channel and things like that. But on the Wealth Journey Collective platform, I talk a lot about, I talk a lot about what to do about it, and I talk a lot about how to do it. And we, like I said earlier, screenshots are shown, milestones are shared. We talk a lot, and we have meetings every other Saturday, and we actually have a meeting this Saturday, same day as the live. So if you're interested in Wealth Journey Collective, feel free to sign up. It's in the link in the description. It's $35 a month. But I hope to see some of y'all there. Hopefully y'all got something out of it. And if you're not interested in Wealth Journey Collective or things like that, that's perfectly fine, because these videos are going to still provide you some value that you can take action on in your life. If we don't have any more questions, I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to see if y'all have anything else, because I really want to provide that value and give y'all the opportunity to ask what you want to ask, say what you want to say. If you have anything to add on the topic at all, or if you want to get on the Zoom call, this is the last call for that. And if not, I will bid you all a good night. But I'm going to give y'all a few minutes. I'm going to put in the chat the live. Oh, sorry. The call line is open. I'm going to give y'all a few minutes. I'm going to play some music. I'm going to bring it back to the timer screen. I'm going to let y'all get on the call line if people are still listening to the video and still want to talk and they're just getting ready for it. I'm going to give a 10-minute buffer here. This is the first time ever trying this, so bear with me, but I'm going to give this a shot. Live call. Before I do that, I'm going to answer this question. Riley said, what's your opinion on taking out a car loan to buy a car at 21? That depends on specifics. How much is the car? How much is the interest rate going to be? How long is your term going to be? It's not a terrible idea, especially if you don't have the money to buy it outright, but you just need to be careful with interest rates and price of the car, condition of the car, stuff like that. So that's my opinion. So we're going to move on here to I guess you can say it's an intermission. I'm going to give y'all 10 minutes to get ready for the live call or the call line. And if y'all don't want it after the 10 minute, I'll just simply end the stream. But I've appreciated being with y'all tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the intermission. So it looks like y'all don't want to talk to me tonight. But just so y'all know, for future references, for future reference, it's time for me to get off this mess because I'm obviously not able to talk right now. But just so you know, if you ever get on the call line, I will never put you on YouTube unless like you specifically ask me to be put on YouTube. Not putting you on the screen so no one will see your face, no one will know who you are. You can be anonymous. So if you ever have any questions or you want to share insight or things like that, but you want to remain anonymous, you'll be anonymous. We'll still like have your name, but like we're just talking about like a first name. So I say all that to say, don't be nervous to talk. And I always encourage everybody to get up here and say some words. And I will never, if you share your financial situation with me, I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to keep it real with you as far as like what it looks like, what the situation is like right now, but I'm not going to judge you or demean you or make you feel dumb for being in your current financial position. So, this has been a great show. I appreciate all of y'all getting up here, participating, and talking and asking questions and making this enjoyable. And most importantly, letting me know that I was muted for the first 40 minutes. So I'm most definitely going to have to edit that mess out and go from there. So apologies again for being muted, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I appreciate you all and have a fantastic night. See you all on Saturday.